Hey there folks, Rel here. Today we're taking a relatively quick look at the Flak Armor certification line to expose how useful it is, what it protects against, and whether or not you should use it. Flak Armor is a suit slot certification that protects you from explosive damage, both direct and indirect. It'll cost you 1, 10, 50, 150, and 1,000 certifications for every class aside from Infiltrator, in which case the max rank only costs 500 certs. It's probably important to mention, just to kind of get this out of the way, that this does not stack with heavy assault shields. The description says that it protects you from 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50% explosive damage at max rank, and that it affects both direct and indirect damage. But when it comes down to it, things really aren't that simple. If your standard dumbfire rocket launcher deals 1,135 direct damage and 1,000 indirect or splash damage, then a player would still die with max rank Flak Armor, right? As 50% of 2,135 total damage would still be 1,067.5, and all non-infiltrator classes only have 500 shields and 500 health. However, indirect damage at point blank from a dumbfire launcher does not, in fact, kill you, even without Flak Armor. Instead of doing the 1,000 splash damage that it says it does, it only does 500. So it seems like infantry have some innate resistance to this type of AoE damage. That being said, the direct damage doesn't work this way. It deals exactly what it says it deals. So if you have rank 4 Flak Armor, which is a 40% resistance, you will survive a shot from a standard dumbfire launcher. Because 40% off of the 500 indirect damage turns out to be 300 damage, and 40% off of the 1,135 direct damage comes out to be 681. So this leaves you with 19 health total. But a decimator round will still kill you. Decimators deal 1,335 damage and that same 500 indirect damage, so we're looking at 1,835 infantry damage total. So 50% of that, you just cut it right in half, is 917.5 damage total, which leaves you with about 82 health. If you're an infiltrator though, you only have 400 shields on top of your 500 health pool. So basically, even with rank 5 Flak Armor, you are not going to survive a direct hit from a standard dumbfire, and you're definitely not going to survive a direct hit from a decimator. As you can probably tell, there are reasons why infiltrators max rank Flak Armor only cost 500 certs, opposed to the 1,000 of every other class. However, when it comes to proximity mines, you'll need at least rank 3 Flak Armor in order to survive stepping on one at point blank range. Even though the damage only states that it's doing 1,000 indirect damage, there seems to be some sort of resistance penetration against infantry. As you can see here, I'm only surviving with a scrap of health left with rank 3 Flak Armor equipped. For underbarrel grenade launchers, you'll need at least rank 4 Flak Armor to survive a direct hit. For a C-75 Viper, however, you can survive a single direct hit with only rank 1 Flak Armor, but this thing has 6 rounds in the magazine, so that really won't make a huge difference in the scheme of things. So what I guess I'm trying to get at here, if you just boil everything down, is that lower ranks of Flak Armor provide very little difference in playstyle when it comes to common occurrences like surviving C4, or surviving a volley of rocket pods, or eating a tank round, or stepping on a proxy mine. The lower ranks will, of course, help you a little bit. With the amount of explosives in PlanetSide 2, it's sure to up your survivability in some situations where explosives are prevalent, but my first piece of advice, if you're considering Flak Armor, is to at least get it to rank 4. That's when you're really going to start noticing how powerful of a suit slot it actually is. Honestly, the cert line isn't too expensive until you hit that max rank. It's only 211 certs to hit rank 4, but just make sure that you do it. Aside from that, there are 2 real considerations you should bear in mind when deciding on whether or not Flak Armor is worth equipping over other suit slots. Your class and your situation. From a situational perspective, if you're fighting in, say, a biolab on defense, the majority of incoming fire is from small arms, and even though grenade spam, pounder spam, and C4 are also common occurrences, your spawn point is very close and you usually have medics on hand. So generally speaking, Flak Armor is useful, but it's not paramount. You should feel at ease running your Grenade Bandolier or your Nanoweave or your Advanced Shield Capacitor or whatever else you enjoy using. As a general rule of thumb, in situations where death is only an annoyance instead of something important, then that's one reason not to worry about taking Flak Armor. And in situations where you're dealing with primarily small arms fire instead of explosives, that's another reason not to take it over Nanoweave or another suit slot. From a class perspective, engineers should place high value on flak armor as you are oftentimes repairing vehicles in the field. Now, vehicles themselves are targets for explosives like rockets, turrets, and whatever else, and because they are targets, you are going to be soaking up some of that AoE as well. Flak armor is also a solid choice on the medic class alongside nanoweave, as you oftentimes put yourself in situations where you're going to have to go out of your way to revive allies who have just died to turrets or vehicles or grenades. Heavy assaults, especially those with a focus on anti-max or anti-vehicle setups, will find flak armor very useful as well. Being able to eat that last tank shell so that you can finish reloading your rocket launcher and then send it at your target, or conk rushing enemy max units with C4, or even trying to survive a rocket pod barrage so that you can turn around and lay a dumbfire or a lock-on launcher on that ESF. Very, very common strategies and situations, and even though it does not stack with your shields, that doesn't mean that it's not worth running on your nanite mesh or adrenaline shield setups. I would not, however, suggest it if you're running a resist shield, and that's simply because your resist shield is available more often than other shield types, so your flak armor will basically be sitting there doing nothing useful for the majority of the time. The only two classes that I really wouldn't suggest running flak armor on are your light assaults, which given their mobility usually aren't as prone to explosives as other classes, and infiltrators, which given their low effective health and ability to cloak, may not find it as useful as running extra ammo, or running grenade bandolier, or even nanoweave in a close range role. But like I said at the start of all this, the episode was going to be pretty short because there's honestly not a whole lot that I can say about flak armor. Given how many explosives are in PlanetSide 2, it's highly regarded as a suit slot option, but that doesn't mean that it fits every bill for every situation. And it is extremely lackluster until rank 4, which fortunately is cheap enough to warrant purchasing. If this extremely quick video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and if you have any additional information that you'd like to add regarding flak armor, or if you'd like to share which classes and setups you prefer it on, you can do that in the comment section down below. Thanks very much, folks. We're all signing off.